I don't even know what to say. Is this a new suit? It's amazing. I love it. I love it so
Private.
much. Yes, sir. Right, sorry, sir. Private First Class Nora Armstrong. It's an honor to meet you, Samus.
Thank you.
One of my favorite things about being an independent game reviewer, man, is not really feeling the need to rush out reviews when video games drop. Some of my most successful reviews come from reviewing games months after they launch, even sometimes years after they launch. I feel like a good review is timeless. No matter when it drops, I feel like it's always going to be people wanting to review or check out games. And to be honest, man, nowadays when you review stuff early or, day one, sometimes you can fall victim to hype trains or hate trains. So I like to really sit back and digest my video games and, take my time with everything. With that being said, shout out to my wifey, man. She got me Metroid Prime 4 Beyond for my birthday, man, and I was really excited for this game. Getting a Switch 2 last year for me was really huge. I got that for myself as a birthday gift, and I was really excited about that. Last Wii system, last Nintendo system I had was the original Wii. So growing up, we didn't really have too many Nintendo consoles in the house. My grandmother was always a PlayStation fan. My dad was a PlayStation fan. My mom got us Xbox when the 360 generation dropped. So I don't want to sit here and pretend like I'm some Nintendo fan that's been with the brand forever and play every Metroid game. I have not, but I really do love the type of theme that Metroid gives off. I am a huge Halo fan, like die hard. I absolutely love Halo. I love Mass Effect trilogy, 1, 2, and 3. I even beat Andromeda. I'm not gonna speak on that, but I love sci-fi games, right? And seeing Metroid has always piqued my interest, whether it was the Metroid Dread from last Switch generation with the Switch 1, or even when they did Metroid Prime remaster. I was like, yo, that looked really good. I didn't have a Switch console at the time, so when it comes to Metroid, I always kind of viewed it from afar, but I always respected what I seen from it. Even when seeing Metroid from back in the day, or going to cousins' houses, who did have those Nintendo consoles, Metroid always was a dope looking franchise to me. It was just never on the franchises of the systems I had growing up. So being an adult and having the flexibility to buy what I want and do what I want, I was really excited to jump into this. And the reason I mentioned I'm happy to review games at my own pace and leisure is because I seen a lot of the discourse surrounding Metroid Prime 4 Beyond when it dropped. A lot of people was very critiqueful of it. A lot of people said it was the worst Metroid game in the series, in the franchise. Like I said, I can't speak to that because I haven't played every one. But if this game is considered the worst in the franchise, this has got to be one of the best franchises ever. Because me personally, I love the game. I hear a lot of the critiques about it, and we'll get into it as we, move along throughout the review. But long story short, I really enjoyed this game. I do wish we had more games like this. I do think we need more games like this, man. Growing up, I definitely took getting Halo so often for granted. I took getting Mass Effect. Those seem to drop relatively in quick successions as far as 1, 2, and 3 back in the day. So it even seemed like, some of my other franchises like Gears of War or God of War. A lot of my games I enjoyed growing up seemed to come quicker as kids. I don't know if that's as an adult, time just slows down and, maybe I'm less impatient or whatever the case may be, man. But let's get right into it. I just wanted to give a little bit of history about, how I like this genre, how I love first-person shooters, especially single-player story shooters. Wolfenstein is another one of my favorites. So this right here is just my cup of tea. So let's get into it, man. First thing we gotta talk about is the graphics, man. The graphics on this, and I played on the Switch 2, as I mentioned earlier, and I played in the quality mode, which is 4K 60, and it was beautiful, man. I played it mostly docked. I took about 20 hours to beat the game. I got 88% of the scans, only 64% item discovery. I really just took my time with it. Now, not all of that 20 hours is just straight up gameplay. I do have a family, so sometimes I have to pause and set the Switch down to chill with my daughter, or if I'm watching movies with the lady, You know, I have to pause it sometimes and lock in. So maybe about 15 to 16 of this time was actually playtime. Some of the other one was probably just, you know, miscellaneous, doing things, phone calls and stuff like that, leaving the game idle. So I just want to be as transparent as possible. Not everybody's going to get 20 hours when they first playthrough. I've seen some people beating it as quick as 12 and 10 hours. I don't know. I guess they was just rushing through the game or whatever, but that's not me. I like to take my time, especially when I'm spending $70 on a game. Or in this case, my girl is spending $70 on the game. I'm not going to rush the experience. I'm going to take my time. So back to the graphics, man. This game is absolutely beautiful, especially docked. I played with the Switch 2 Pro controller 90% of the time as well. And man, it was just gorgeous, beautiful, man. I didn't even touch the performance mode, which is 1080p, 120 FPS, which I will probably check that out and play on the hard mode that you unlock after finishing the game the first time. But man, I just thought the game was beautiful, man. For this to be a Switch 2 game and, you know, pretty much a, you know, portable type game for a portable hybrid console, I was just really impressed. And it's on par with some of the games I played last year, whether it's games I done played this gen on my Series X or my PS5 Pro. This game hangs right with them. You know, one of my favorite games from last year is Doom: The Dark Ages, right? From Xbox and Microsoft. And this game is, in my opinion, on par with the art design, with the graphic direction, not the graphics, but the art direction and stuff like that. You know, obviously two different art styles and going for different things, but as a whole, I don't think I took a step down playing this game when coming from more powerful consoles. So that within itself is really impressive, especially when you consider it's a hybrid cross-gen game. You know, the development of this game started on the Switch 1 and it just got improved and updated for the Switch 2, which is fantastic, man. It was a lock smooth 60 FPS all throughout. The haptics felt really good, man. I really enjoyed that. And even in handheld mode, now I did spend probably about 2 hours of my gameplay playing in portable. You know, when I didn't feel like sitting at my desk, you know, I would pick it up or chill in the bed or chill on the couch with the wifey and shit like that. And the game look just as good in handheld, and playing in the quality mode on there, absolutely beautiful, man. 1080p 60, it's just a really technical sound game, and I really appreciate that. And in a world full of free to play slop and just $70 slop as well being thrown at you left and right, where you buy a game, it's not complete day one, you gotta wait for patches, you have to wait for DLCs to get the full experience. And I know Nintendo does that as well, looking at you, Legends A through Z or Z through A, whatever that is. But to get the full complete package with this game, technically sound, no problems, no crashes, it's just really refreshing. And we need more of that in the gaming industry, especially from these big AAA titles, because we can look around at everybody who's been putting out AAA games that are just not the most polished, right? And you know, you look at something like a Redfall from Microsoft, look at something like a Concord that just didn't make it through the light of day, biggest flop of all time. So nobody is safe from putting out rough games and having rough output. So this was really nice and really refreshing on the graphical standpoint. I thought the sound design was great too. So yeah, man, sound and graphics was really beautiful. I really enjoyed it. Now, to get into the story, man, I kind of like don't hate the story as much as everyone else. Like I said, I'm my own man. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments. If you hated this story, please let me know. If you played the other games and feel this is a big step down, please educate me. Because like I said, I'm new to the series, but I thought the story was really serviceable. I know a lot of people hate some of the side characters in there, like the engineers and some of the people that kind of hold your hand. I'm not really a fan of that too much, but I don't feel like it was overbearing. I feel like it got blown out of proportion a lot by media and people. But these are the same people that praise something like a Ghost of Yote, which I'm not knocking. It's one of my favorite games from last year. But everywhere you look in that game, it's some white paint. You know, if you climbing somewhere, it's some paint or it's some yellow paint. So it's like, you know, video games do this whole handy shit everywhere. So just call it out in every game across the board. Don't call it out in just one game. I feel like that's kind of corny. But I will say, you know, the paint don't talk in other games. So I guess maybe they didn't want to hear him talking. But I feel like it was really blown out of proportion, man. You know, he'll chime in every now and again and like nudge you in the right direction, which is cool. I think it should be a setting to maybe like, you know, turn off the tips as a whole. Or maybe on hard mode, it's turned off as well. I don't know. I have to do my hard playthrough to find out about that. But I personally enjoyed the characters, man. I thought they was funny. I thought they was quirky. They was like a stark contrast to what Samus was. You know, she's cold, she's quiet, she don't speak at all. She's a silent protagonist in this game. So, you know, having other characters give their personality to match just her coldness and her stiffness, I thought that was really dope, and I thought that was really cool and refreshing, and it brought a unique flavor to the game, in my humble opinion. Yeah, so, you know, I enjoyed the characters. I thought the story was pretty good. I think the pacing was good. I really enjoy each biome and working through there, and I enjoy finding upgrades and coming back to other places to explore stuff that was unlocked. I feel like they did a really good job with the pacing. Now we got to talk about one of my negatives, and that's kind of Soul Valley. I didn't hate it as much as other people, and I really did enjoy the motorcycle too, by the way. I enjoyed driving around Soul Valley because I thought it was kind of you know, just a unique different pace of gameplay, you know, compared to going to the biomes, action, you know, progressing throughout and stuff like that. So I personally didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I feel like, you know, it kind of could be, you know, knocked down to filler. It wasn't too many interesting things to do. It was some shrines and some like little tombs you can go to and get upgrades and stuff like that. So I guess that was cool, that was cute, but I feel like it left a lot to be desired. I think like some more cooler secrets and lore could have been left out there. And speaking of lore and story, that's another thing I really enjoy. I enjoy scanning everything in this world and scanning every creature, and every time I scan a creature, I would open up the codex and read about them. That's one of my favorite things to do in Mass Effect. It's one of my favorite things to do in this game as well. So I really did enjoy getting the lore and just getting the background of whatever I'm facing and fighting at the time. Like I said, Soul Valley wasn't all of that. I see why people have their critiques with this game, but you know, just to say it's a bad game or just horrible, I just quite frankly don't agree with that. But that's just me coming from a casual standpoint and a new fan perspective. Hey man, maybe when I play Metroid Prime Remastered, which I plan to play after this, or maybe, you know, if they make Metroid 2 remake or remaster and I play those, maybe I'll be like, okay, Prime 4 Beyond was a step down, right? But as of now, it's just being my first game I beat in the series. Dude, I really enjoyed it, man. I think the boss fights was really dope and really epic. I had a lot of fun with the boss fights, man. Like I said, the pacing was great as well. Outside of Soul Valley, it is one thing I did not like, and I think a lot of people are not gonna like this. And if you made it to this point, you guys know I don't do spoilers, so probably skip maybe a minute ahead or 30 seconds ahead while I get this little rant off, right? I hated having to collect the green crystals, right? And I didn't realize how important they was until the end of the game. So to get to the end of the game, to get all the keys, and then have to collect a bunch of green crystals to get upgrades to progress the story, I did not like that. I feel like that threw the pacing off a lot, and that was just like really my main negative, man. Besides that, guys, I really enjoyed this game. Beautiful graphics, really dope streamlined story, nothing too deep, nothing too complex, easy to follow along with. Great exploration, great time finding secrets and stuff like that. Man, I really enjoyed my time with this game. Is it perfect? No, but I do think it's a masterpiece within its own right, especially when you're comparing it to modern day games and the lack of modern AAA story shooters we get. Shout out to the Halo campaign Evolved. I'm really freaking excited for that. Like I said, I love Halo, so best believe I'm gonna be playing and checking that out. There's rumors of a new Wolfenstein coming. I really enjoyed Doom: The Dark Ages. Check out my review for that if you care or want to hear my thoughts on that game. I may re-review it because I plan to get the platinum on it for PlayStation. The first time I played it was on my Series X and Game Pass, and I picked up the physical for it recently on my PS5 Pro. So, you know, I really do love single player story-driven games. I feel like, you know, it's kind of a dying breed, man. It is, but it isn't. You know, most of these games nowadays is chasing online. How can you reap the benefits and get profit from battle passes and $20 skins? I'm looking at you, Apex. I'm looking at you, Battlefield. So it's really refreshing to just get a good single player first person shooter sci-fi setting. I really enjoyed this game, man. Like I said, I think we need more games like this, man. It's not perfect. It do have some flaws. I think a lot of people might have their complaints about it, but that's the best thing about gaming. Nobody has to like the same thing. It is some people out here, believe it or not, it is some people out here that absolutely fucking hate Skyrim. And that is one of my favorite games of all time. If somebody tell me they don't like Skyrim and Mass Effect, I look at them like they're crazy. you know, but I'm the same guy that might turn around and say I wasn't too big of a fan of the Oblivion remake. And some people live and die by the Oblivion game as a whole. So, you know, it's good to have these conversations in gaming and have an open mind. You know, not every game is for everyone, and that's okay. I'm not saying none of those guys who critiqued this game was wrong. I think some of the reviewers and some people might have been harsh when you compare the current landscape of gaming and how predatory a lot of these people are. You know, I really enjoyed Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. To make a long story short, or should I say a long review shorter, I don't want to drag on too long. We're already hitting the 15 minutes mark, which is pretty long for me, but you know, I had a lot to say. I really enjoyed this game. I thought it was really dope. It's been your boy NextGenNero. Hit that like button, subscribe, share with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.